Final score, Wrexham 3, Reading 0. Happy with consolidation? Are you? Really? Not after that. That was a great performance. Let's put it into a bit of context as well. Reading are doing an incredible job. They have terrible problems off the pitch, ownership issues, which hopefully will be resolved soon. In the meantime, Ruben Selles, their manager, hasn't been able to bring players in. He's lost players, and remarkably, him and his very, very youthful side have started the season exceptionally well. They should have won at Birmingham first match of the season, comfortable win against Wigan the next game, and they came to the racecourse in very good form. But they just couldn't resist Wrexham, and the BBC reporter next to me who was covering Reading summed it up beautifully. I heard him on the final whistle just saying how it's a learning experience. You know, it's no disgrace to be beaten by a side playing like that with the quality that Wrexham have. And that was exactly the case. Wrexham started off one change. Seb Reven replaced by Ryan Barnett. The two of them have both put in a great performance each in the two league games so far. Barnett got the nod, and straight away he was involved and he was lively. But then straight away Wrexham were looking sharp and on the front foot. Palmer got past his man and was about to hit a shot from 25 yards, pulls his leg back, and it's taken from beneath him by Elliott, the Reading midfielder, who really should have been booked for that. Although, to be fair, the referee was consistent in his allowing physical contact. That was very much to Wrexham's benefit, I think. People like Dobson and McLean flying in hard with a number of great tackles. And to be fair as well, he should have booked Palmer a couple of minutes later when he grabbed the hold of the shirt of a defender as he ran past him with no attempt to play the ball. So I guess he evened her up. But anyway, from the free kick, Elliott Lee giving us a taste of what's to come. Great strike from the free kick, just skimming the bar. Reading had moments as well in the 14th minute, an excellent move, but it sort of illustrated their problem as well in this match because they really did lack that killer touch. The final ball wasn't there. It was an excellent move to get them up the pitch. Akande was making his league debut. Looked terrific. Fed it inside to Elliott at the end of it. He probably should have shot. He was about 15 yards out with a bit of space around him. Instead, he played one pass too many, and the ball was poked partly clear. Charlie Savage was able to get a shot in, but Andy Cannon made an excellent block. And there's another element which is a pattern throughout the game. The blocking by Wrexham in and around the box. I mean, the Concord didn't have that much to do. Reading got shots off from the edge of the area, but Wrexham players were closing them down and blocking them superbly. And Reading paid the price because they went behind. Another fantastic move by Wrexham, and they'd move it around even better in the latter stages of the game. But in this one, the first build-up was very good. Cross by Barnett was just about headed away by Bindon as Palmer was attacking it. But as Andy Morrell said in the commentary with me, Wrexham were just relentless at this point in the game. We just wouldn't let Reading have the ball back. Straight away winning the second balls and putting it straight back in there. And on this occasion, O'Connor played a lovely little pass inside to find Lee in space between the lines. He moved it on to Barnett. Barnett put in another excellent delivery to the far post. And this time, Palmer has got the leap on Mbengwe, the other centre-back, and planted his header back the way it came inside the right post. A lovely finish, a great cross, and relentless pressure from Wrexham, who really were flying at this point. Nearly got another 2 minutes later, which would have been, wow. I mean, the competition for goal of the season's hot already, but this one would have been the leader, I think. It was a long throw by Dorset into the Wrexham penalty area. Wrexham managed to half clear it to the edge of the box. It looked like it was Charlie Savage's ball, but then Marius came from nowhere, just managed to get there ahead of him and nipped the ball away with his head, chased it, got to it, and then set off on the run from the edge of his area to the edge of the Reading area. Nobody could keep up with him. He had no support. So he lashed in a powerful shot, which was swerving away from the keeper and was really moving at pace. And Pereira had to go to his left and push the ball around the post for a corner. The second goal was coming, and it came in the 33rd minute, and again, a goal of the season contender, although the end of it was a bit scrappy, unfortunately. It was a magnificent move up the pitch. Started off with 7 first-time passes in a row to get us out of trouble. We were under pressure on the edge of our area, got it back, and we just zinged it around. It was fantastic to watch, and the Reading players couldn't do a thing about it, and all of a sudden we were free. The ball was worked out by Lee to Barnett again on the right hand side. He swept another great cross into the far post. McLean leapt, headed it against the left post from close range. It ricocheted out. Marriott looked certain to score, but Pereira made a brilliant save, hurling himself at Marriott and making the block. Unluckily for him, it fell to Elliot Lee, who tapped it into the net, and quite deservedly, because Lee had run the game in the first half hour. It was magnificent all-round performance. Lee, effervescent, working so hard like he does, but also with the little lovely touches. So often Reading players just getting a bit too tight on him, and he would just turn them beautifully, just making it look simple. Absolutely terrific performance by Lee. Reading got an opportunity pretty much straight afterwards. Free kick given away about 35 yards out. Wing put a good ball into the crowd, and from around the penalty spot, Bindon got it well, with headed it. It looped over Okonkwo, hit the top of the bar, and that was it for the half. Second half, Wrexham again came out strongly. Within 4 minutes of the restart, had a 3-goal lead. Maybe Reading just overdoing it a touch, trying to play it out from defence. Ehi Batyanen with Elliott on the right-hand side lost it. It was challenged by Leon Elliott that could have been given as a foul, quite frankly, but I think the referee was being pretty consistent with physical contact. Lee fed it inside to Cannon, who had lots of space. He carried it to within about 20-25 yards of goal, clearly set himself for the shot and nailed it right in the bottom left corner. Keeper diving full stretch, had no chance to reach it, and it was 3-0, and it was game over. I do want to come back to Reading for a couple of points, though. I really liked Reading. I thought they set themselves up well. They looked well coached, and in midfield, I thought they did a nice job. They had a lot of possession. They put pressure on Wrexham, but Wrexham are very good, I feel, in that mid-block. And we were last season as well, when we were put under pressure or we had a lead. We were very comfortable to drop into the mid-block and just say to teams, pass around in front of us. We really looked very organised, and Reading just couldn't quite find their way through. I should say about Elliott as well, I sound like I'm complaining about him, because you see everything that seems to have gone wrong for Reading. I seem to have mentioned his name. I think he's a good player from what I've seen of him. I've seen him in 2 games now, admittedly, at all, but he looks good to me. And he was trying to drive play forwards well, so I had a lot of sympathy for him. I think he's, like a lot of the Reading players, got a bit of a future ahead of him if he's given the opportunity, and it looks like Selash will give him the opportunity. And the other thing about Reading, though, is that the referee's willingness to allow physical contact, I think, favoured Wrexham a bit. Like I say, people like Dobson and McLean rattling in on tackles, and the ref allowing if there's a bit of physical contact as well, very much in Wrexham's favour. Sam Smith got himself booked for dissent because they weren't getting free kicks. I've got to say, I think he probably... Well, I called it before it happened, so obviously I'm going to say I think he probably deserved it. He tried to play for a few free kicks in the first half, and the ref wasn't having it, and I think the ref was right in on those occasions, to be honest. And then another player went down, a Reading player. I don't think it was a foul, and Smith was having the right pop at the ref and got himself booked. But yeah, Reading were unhappy as well, feeling there were penalties that could have been given. I've not mentioned any of them in these because, to be honest, I really don't think that they were worthy shouts. The ref waved them away, and like I said, I was sitting next to a Reading reporter who, on air, when asked about the penalty shouts, just said none of them were penalties, and I think that's correct. The ref did get a lot of grief from the Reading fans' minds, but I don't think he was a significant contributor, except you could have given a foul for that challenge by Lee on Elliott for the 3rd goal. I accept that. I think that's maybe Reading a little unfortunate with that. Anyway, Wrexham carried on playing well. Lee with a free kick left of centre, but she skimmed on target, and Pereira had to dive full length to turn it around the post. Then, another attempt at goal this season, 25 minutes left. Marriott does really well to hold the ball up in midfield, something he does exceptionally well. Feeds it back to Dobson on the right. Dobson plays a terrific early ball down the flank to send Cannon away on one of those terrific runs of his. It's bouncing awkwardly for Cannon, and McLean is unmarked, driving into the box at the far post. So Cannon decides that his best option is to just try and loop it in. Often those crosses don't go right, but Cannon got it perfectly. And while McLean, you could just see him charging in. He's all alone alone. He's got pretty much the whole penalty area to himself. Certainly his half of the penalty area. He's got plenty of time to take a touch, but he knows it's 3-0, and he knows that if what he's planning is going to come off, he's going to be a legend. And so he tries to hit a volley on the run as Cannon's ball comes to him, and he does get fabulous contact on it, as can be seen by the way the ball swerves after it's gone over the bar. But yeah, spoiler alert, goes over the bar. It was sensational. It was about a yard over. It was close. Yeah. If it was 0-0, I think you'd be wondering why he didn't just bring it down and knock it home, but it was a thrilling moment. A minute later, Ollie Palmer's excellent stint up front's brought to an end so Stephen Fletcher can have a run out. And he would get heavily involved a couple of minutes later, a lengthy spell of pressure by Wrexham. It started with a brilliant combination between Lee and McLean. Lee back heels it for McLean, he pulls it back inside for Lee, drives into the box, can't get his shot off quite from 6 yards out because Bindon covers him really well. But Reading then are trapped in their box, give it back to Wrexham, and when the ball's played forwards, McLean comes in, and it's fabulous play, terrific tackle, and then manages just to have enough time to get up from the tackle and ping a terrific switch at high pace to Barnett. Barnett runs at his man, gets past him, dinks across to the far post. Fletcher is there a couple of yards out, but beyond the far post, and it's probably not a good percentage option to go for goal. He drops it into the goal mouth, and Bindon just manages to beat Marriott to it and head it off the line. Great pressure from Wrexham. A minute later, a chance for Reading, Wing with a free kick left of centre, which he struck well and got over the wall nicely, but it dropped just wide of the left post. But Reading, as Wrexham started to go into a game management mode, would make another opportunity from a set piece. Wing sweeping it in, substitute Tuma heading it on into the goal mouth. Dorset lunged and looked certain to score, but Okonkwo was off his line so quickly with a brilliant, brave block with his hands of Dorset's powerful shot from close range. He then inadvertently crashed into Dorset, who needed treatment and eventually had to go off. But it was a fine piece of play by Okonkwo to protect his clean sheet. 74th minute, a moment all the Wrexham fans are waiting for, because I neglected to mention at the start that surprisingly Paul Mullin was on the bench, and every time he came out to warm up, well, you could imagine what the noise was like. He came on for Marius in the 74th minute again to terrific acclaim. He wasn't able to really influence the game much, but didn't really matter because we got 20 minutes into his legs for future battles. A couple more substitutions as well. Reven came on for Barnett on the right. James Jones made his first league appearance of the season on for Cannon, who suffered an unfortunate injury. It looks like from the way his hand was strapped, he was carrying an injury into the match, with a finger injury. And then Rashisha on as a substitution, I think eager to ruffle some feathers, just rather pushed him over really, and Cannon, sticking out his hand, must have damaged those damaged fingers. Oh, he looked in a lot of pain. Don't know if they were dislocated and being put back in, but oh, he looks in so much pain, kneeling on the side of the pitch, looking away from his hand as it was treated, and James Jones had to replace him. And Wrexham continues to look comfortable. Couple of breakaway options didn't quite fall our way, although, wow, 89th minute really could have been 3-1 and cost Okonkwo that clean sheet. It was a funny error. O'Connor and McLean colliding with each other when they were both underneath a diagonal ball. It should have just been dealt with. It wasn't. And as a result, Tuma again came round the right-hand side, pulled it back into the box. Striker in the middle dummied it nicely, and Rashisha hit it really cleanly from about 15 yards towards the top left corner. Okonkwo lunged, couldn't get there. It hit the bottom of the bar, dropped down and bounced back out. There wasn't much of an appeal from Reading for it being over the line, which surprises me. At the time, I didn't think it had gone over as well. Watching back the replays, now fortunately the frame rate's not as good as it was last season, but certainly in the footage I've got, and so I can't really isolate it, but it looks to me like it may well have gone over the line actually, which I didn't think at the time, but it looks suspicious. But anyway, I think it would have been very harsh on Okonkwo and his defence if they hadn't kept a clean sheet, because they deserved one. Let's have a look at the individual performances. Okonkwo, really just the one save he had to make, but it was a very, very good one, and he was confident in the air, coming and claiming stuff as always. He did fumble one corner, but he'd come a long way beyond his far post to try and deal with it, and he got enough on it with his hands that it was at least pushed out towards the corner flag, so that Wrexham had plenty of time to reset. That wasn't a major deal. Again, the back three unit were very, very good. O'Connell handled Smith really comfortably. Smith's a good striker and a physical striker. O'Connell wasn't at all bothered by that. Cleworth was 2 games in a row. My observation on Cleworth is he's been quite unobtrusive, but completely in control. Nothing's happened on his sort of the right-hand side of our defensive area, if you will, because it's just all under control. He linked up nicely a couple of times with attacks as well. On the left-hand side, I thought O'Connor was outstanding. I thought he really, really looked good. Some of his use of the ball was excellent. He set high up the pitch, defensively rock solid as well. Great performance by O'Connor, I thought. The wing-backs, Barnett, magnificent. Just destroyed Dorset. He really destroyed him. That sounds like some sort of dystopian sci-fi plot. Barnett destroys Dorset. But no, it wasn't. He was just terrific, non-stop, running at him all the time. Got so many good quality crosses into fantastic areas. I mean, it was a brilliant, brilliant performance. Him and Revan slugging it out for a place on the team by each of them putting in outstanding performances. Well, that's quite fun at the moment. And on the left, McLean was, again, those usual qualities, very energetic. His strength and aggression were very good. He defended well, I thought, until that collision with O'Connor. But, yeah, again, McLean, get what you pay for, don't you, with him? Another strong performance. Central midfield, Dobson again, very high quality, some crunching tackles, some fine passes. He's got such awareness. There's a shock in the second half when he spotted a pass and looked to have nailed it, but had too much on it and went out for a throw. I was like, what? Dobson spotted a difficult pass and didn't quite make it? It just feels out of character. What a player he is. You love him. He's magnificent. And either side of him, I am sounding very gushy today, but then everyone played well. Either side of him, on the right, Cannon again, just effervescent and dangerous with his runs forwards. He's really good at finding those spaces and driving into them and then having end product. And Elliot Lee was a man of the match for me, although Barnett ran him a close second, and there were lots of other great performances, but Lee was just all-round fantastic. He was just everywhere all the time, and his attacking quality, his creative quality was there. Brilliant performance by him. Up front, Palmer and Marius again combined superbly. They are such a nightmare for defenders. They won't give them a minute's peace. Palmer was really sprinting hard and outpacing players. It was really nice to see him looking so mobile and aggressive. He took his goal beautifully. A player like him, wouldn't you be delighted to have Barnett thinking those balls in for him to attack? And then Marriott just buzzes around all the time. He's so sharp. He's quick. Great combination. The subs, Fletcher did well when he came on as well, had an influence, was causing issues. Mullin, looked lively, looked lacking match sharpness. I mean, how could he not be? But it was great to see him get that time on the pitch. Revan didn't have that much time to make an impression, or Jones really. But yeah, fantastic all-round performance. Very, very enjoyable. And Wrexham 4th now, and looking very good. Let's hope we can maintain that form. It's a tough game at Peterborough on Saturday, but yeah, tough games, that's what we're here to relish, isn't it? We enjoy the challenge, bring it on. With a final score of Wrexham 3, Reading 0, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.